Greetings, friends and foes, and welcome along to episode 37 of Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer. As always, I am your anime historian, Joel.
I am your anime history teacher, Robert.
And I'm your anime history, Curtis.
You
are the history.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean we study you?
Sure, maybe.
And I try and pass you off to my kids as interesting. Well, really, I just want the paycheck.
Just like the abstract concept of history.
Wow, that was. Yeah, no, I think I'm just history. I've been.
You've been.
I've been.
And everything that ever will be becomes you eventually.
You're like an ever.
So, yeah.
You're like an ever-growing mass. I love it. This week on this episode of the podcast, we watched episodes 22, 23, and 24 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. This is a podcast where we talk about that and then some other things, and we're going to do that right now. But first, last time on Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer. Robert, do you have follow-up?
Yeah, Joel mentioned in last episode that in the predictions that we predicted that the student council, was going to join forces with Utena to try and defeat the Black Rose people, and they talked about that. They didn't really join forces yet, but they were definitely talking about doing so. 2.5
prophecies fulfilled. Not bad. We won't. 2.5 out of doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter how many we've made. You only count the hits. That's the thing that you first learn about making prophecies
and cold reading.
Yeah, cold reading.
Follow up for me is that there is no follow up for me. I don't think I have any follow up.
Okay.
It'll be one of those things again where next week I'll have follow-up for last week's episode because of the convoluted timeline that we exist in.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Let's move into Revolutionary Girl Utena Abridged.
It's not going to be quite as abridged as normal. I had to take so many notes for these episodes.
They were pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right. Duel 22 title.
Nemuro Memorial Hall.
You're saying memorial.
I know. Nemuro Memorial Hall.
I'm just going to leave in every single one of those.
So it starts with a shot of the prince sitting on the ball. Akio is up in the castle talking to him. He says that we're down to the last Black Rose. So much for having 100 of them, I guess. He wonders if Mikage will himself fight. The student council are doing research in the library, trying to find out who are these people behind all these new duels. Juri says that she
that they waited 98 or 99 duels for them to be like, okay, like we need to knuckle down. This is way out of hand.
Have you guys starting to see it as a trend? There's something going on for the last 99 weeks or whatever it is. Juri says that she thought that the Rose Seal crests could only be possessed by those chosen by End of the World. Nanami deduces that the End of the World must therefore be behind it, and whoever it is behind it must be on campus. Utena is looking for Choo-Choo, and Mikage has found him in a mousetrap and gives him back. He introduces himself to Utena and invites her to join the seminar. He says, "Don't worry, you're not brainy, but we're after individualistic personalities rather than brains." And then he tells her the story of the dead boys of the Memorial Hall. Once there was a Professor Nemuro, who, after whom the Memorial Hall is now named. He and his students were burned to death when they were trapped in a fire long, long ago. Back to present day, Utena is looking for Akio, but he's disappeared, speaking to Mikage in his office about a contract that they made a long time ago. Back to the flashback scene, someone is speaking to a Professor Nemuro. He turns around. It's Mikage! What? This is a long time ago! What's happening? He talks to some lackey about how his contract with the school is forcing utmost secrecy on them, and their research that they're doing is super secret. They don't even know what the guys next door are working on, something about the power to revolutionize the world and attaining eternity. Nemuro asks the guy why they all wear a particular rose ring on their left hand, and the guy says, it's just a fashion statement. He enters
Can you imagine in high school?
100 guys all wearing a rose ring on their left hand.
Yeah, I feel like that's too many.
And not being like, that's not fashion. That's not a thing. He enters his office and he sees a woman sent by the board. She says that her name is Tokiko Chida. Back at her house, for some reason, she's pouring tea, and it's a little strong. They chat vaguely about his research while a beeping hand points the viewer's attention to certain things around the room. A cat, a teapot, a butterfly.
She does say that the tea is too strong because she let it brew for too long, but it's strange because she used a timer and an hourglass timer, and can an hourglass timer run slow? I feel like that's important for a point I'm going to make later, which is why I wanted to point it out.
Okay.
There's a crash in the room next door. It draws her out of the room to see to her sickly little brother, Mamiya, who is tending to the roses in the conservatory. Mamiya starts fawning on Nemuro, saying that Tokiko just came to the school only to meet him, which confused me because she said she was sent by the board, but I guess I'll get back to that. She tells Nemuro that the reason for her involvement in this research into eternity is that maybe she'll be able to cure Mamiya's illness. Nemuro continues to work like a pack horse, day and night, despite not knowing fully what he's working towards. One day he visits Mamiya in his conservatory, who shows him his skill for preserving blackened roses. Back in his office, Nemuro is struggling with an equation when in walks a mysterious man in shadows, which is totally Akio. He offers him the chance to revolutionize the world, and a rose ring is a symbol of a contract made with him. So apparently everybody at the school's made a contract with this guy.
Well, the 100 people working on the thing.
Everybody in the research part of the school, I guess. A man walks past his office door pushing a cart, and Nemuro follows him to an ajar door at the end of a hallway where he sees Akio snogging Tokiko. The school is blazing, just on fire. A distressed Tokiko shakes her little brother, asking if it's true that he did it. She can't understand why.
It's something to do with that you had dinosaurs died so that we could have oil, and so their sacrifice was so that we could have an energy efficient society for the future.
And such sacrifices are necessary so that one day the path to eternity will be opened from this school.
It all makes sense.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Clear as mud.
Back to the present day, a woman in a sun hat arrives at the school and double takes as Mikage walks past her. There's a shadow theatre of a robot being created to catch monkeys and not feel lonely anymore. And then the hat lady meets with Akio and says that she saw Nemuro walking down the hall, and the school has changed a lot, but he hasn't aged a bit. So we've got confirmation that it wasn't just a guy that looked like him or his ancestors or something. It's actually the same guy. Mikage is Nemuro from way back when, and how the hell's that happen? Akio says that so long as they stay in the gardens they call school, people will never become adults. What?
So magic, but we'll come back to it.
So because people will never become adults, it's okay to have sex with your kid's sister because it's not like you can just wait until she's an adult.
Yeah, what am I going to do? Wait forever? No.
She's technically been alive long enough to consent. He asks her...
It's like the opposite of being born on leap year.
Yeah.
I know that I look like this, but I've actually had 29 birthdays.
He asks Sun Hat Lady how her life is going, and she says, it's great. My husband's a great guy, and blah, blah, blah. I've only come back to the school to visit Mamiya's grave.
What?
What? Mamiya's dead, and what's happening? And also, Hat Lady is Tokiko. How do you pronounce it? Tokiko. She says that for a plant to bear fruit, its flowers must die eventually. And Akio says, I know. And then the black rose is plucked. End of the episode. Wow, what the fuck? Alright. Duel 23, title.
The Terms of a Duelist.
The Missing Rose. Mamiya says, we're down to one rose. Because we'd forgotten by the start from the start of the last one. Mikage says, yes, I know. True eternity will come from the sacrifice of those 100 boys. He says that Utena has unknowable depths of strength and he can't think of a winning scenario here. Perhaps if he can get her to join him? The student council are also debating letting Utena join them. Utena, meanwhile, can't find Anthe. She's looking everywhere. Mikage pretends not to know her. He offers her a place in the seminar again, claiming to find her attractive, and saying he can help her or anyone she knows with any problems they're having. Anything you want, I'll do it for you. While she waffles some reply, he looks at her, seeing only Tokiko. Late night, Utena is slumped over her desk asleep, and then she wakes up to see that Anthe has returned and fallen asleep holding her hand. She decides that Anthy's got problems, and so she decides to take up Mikage on his offer and goes to the memorial hall. Mikage's assistant informs him of her arrival and then tells him that he is special and maybe even one of the chosen, capitalized. But she fell in love with him when he was her age, not the young boy he is to her now. He says, well, I am what I am, and she leaves, no longer his assistant. Utena, waiting in the lobby, sees black and white photos of all of the Black Rose duelists so far, and she starts to piece together some sort of crazy mystery. Voices talk of the path to the dueling arena being opened and Nemuro's work being almost complete. A long table is set with candelabra and champagne flutes. Mamiya brings a prone Nemuro some flowers, and he says that all the boys fear you, you know, and he thinks he almost has eternity in his grasp. Nemuro says, I won't duel them. And Mamiya says, why not? I want eternity, blah blah blah, why don't you? All of this. There's lots of sort of confusing flashbacks and flash forwards and the school's blazing and all of this.
Time is convoluted.
Yeah. Mikage meets with Utena back in present day, still looking at the black and white photos. He says that I knew you would finally return to me, and he's seeing her only as Tokiko. Utena accuses him of being manipulative, and he denies, saying that all these duelists had precious memories that they couldn't forget, and they worked hard to preserve them. In short, they tried to change their lives according to their memories. He says, Utena, you should be able to make your memories eternal. The path you must take is, pow, right in the kisser. She cuts him off, slogs him in the face. He says, look, see, even your memories are precious to you. You're trying to stop me from taking them or whatever. She sees his rose ring, and so she lets up before she breaks his arm. But she still challenges him to a duel in order to prove that she's nothing like him. In the Confessavator, he clutches himself and thinks of Mamiya. He thinks she might genuinely have killed him if it wasn't for seeing his ring. He still thinks of her as being Tokiko for some reason, and says that she's closer to the power of Dios than either him or Mamiya. And if we don't beat her, we'll never advance. And then there's a shadow puppet theatre about a guy who longs for his good old school days. In the dueling arena, there's photos of Mamiya on the desks. They start to fight, and he maybe is winning. There's lots of sort of confusing double entendres and symbolic speech. Eventually, he glances across at one of the photos and sees it's not Mamiya in the photograph. In fact, Mamiya of his memories tells him that he's going to lose the fight because he cannot beat his sister, Tokiko. Anthy runs her delicate fingers along Utena's shaft, spraying from the end just as the prince goes down. Mikage gets frantic at this point, claiming to have taken everything on himself, even Mamiya's crime. Flashback to the blaze when he's trying to defend Mamiya against his sister for setting the place on fire, saying it was the right thing to do. But now he's actually the one holding the candelabra. He's the one who started the fire. Tokiko slaps him. What's happening? It's all going crazy. He says, Mamiya, it's been decades since I saw you. But we know it hasn't been decades, so what's happening?
No, it has.
Mamiya's appearance changes in all of his memories to this other kid. Who the hell is it?
Which makes more sense, because Tokiko was not brown-skinned and did not have purple hair.
Yeah. Utena wins the duel using this craziness, and Akio gets a call. He says, Mr. Nemuro, I've been expecting this call. Yes, Mamiya was created by your lingering guilt over Tokiko, and actually died a long time ago. You treasured the memory so much that it stopped time for you, which is how that happens.
Yes.
I made use of that. You proved useful to me, but that's done now. Your path is not prepared. You must graduate from this place. Miki and Utena arrive at the memorial hall, which is now all ruined and long abandoned. Miki says that no one was hurt, but there was a big fire here long before the student council existed. He can't remember the name of the teacher involved with it. No records exist. Akio walks up to Mamiya, who is alive and in his office. What the hell? He says, don't worry, you shouldn't miss him too much, as he was never really at this school in the first place. Just like you weren't. At which point, Mamiya turns into Anthy. What the actual fuck?
It all makes perfect sense, guys. I've got a 12-point diagram. I've figured it out.
I look forward to hearing it. Duel 24, just as deep and convoluted as the others, I'm sure. Title:
Secret Nanami Sama Diary?
Nanami in the title means it's going to be a wonderful episode.
It's a recap episode, guys.
Nothing happens.
Phone it in.
That's it. Suwabuki walks with Nanami, a runaway horse again, and he pushes her out the way, getting injured.
He got it.
In the process.
Got it in one.
He did it. He finally did the thing. In the hospital, he's recovering while Nanami, Utena, and Anthy are reading his diary. Then we see a clip show of various past scenes, with Suwabuki retroactively placed in those scenes, taking notes of what's going on so that he can get to know Nanami and how she operates. Utena and Anthe learn that she was the one behind the dissolving dress and the curry thing and the snail and the snake and the octopus thing. They also learn that Tsuwabuki was behind the attempts on Nanami's life, as if we didn't already know that.
It's essentially, if you've seen The Lion King 3, I forget the subtitle, where it turns out that Timon and Pumbaa were behind the entire original Lion King, including the bowing at the beginning because Pumbaa farted.
Timon and Pumbaa are dead, I think it's called.
Yeah. So that's what this is, except it's Tsuwabuki. He was the guy.
Yeah.
He did everything.
Towards the end, he tries to grab that book back, but his sheet falls off, exposing his little 10-year-old dick. And Nanami falls out of the window startled. She wakes up with him tending to her. She steals his book again and reads it again. And then there's a shadow theatre of a robot stealing a monkey and then getting into a UFO and flying away.
Because that robot was from an earlier thing with monkeys, and UFOs were how Beacon and Akon left the last time.
Which is one of my comments. It's the first time I think that the Shadow Theatre has referenced earlier Shadow Theatre stuff, which, I don't know, that's obviously symbolic and important. I'm not sure. So, first thoughts?
Okay, so... Exhibit A. No. First thoughts first.
Yeah. Are we still enjoying it?
I had a grand time.
Yeah, Curtis.
Yeah, I liked it.
Except for I didn't like the Tsuwabuki recap episode.
Yeah,
I preferred when Simone and Pumbaa did it. But,
I didn't like that episode, but I really enjoyed the other two. But I didn't enjoy the fact that it took me so long. Like, it took me 3 hours to watch all 3 episodes because I had to stop and take notes. Because at the moment I'm watching every episode through, and then watching it through to take notes so that I can just enjoy it the first time.
Sure.
But when I was taking notes on it, I just kept stopping because normally I take quite abridged notes.
Okay.
But this time I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I need to have actual quotes down there. I need to know what he said, like word for word, so that I can reference it in theories and stuff.
Okay, so when I point to my diagrams, I'm going to throw to you for a direct quote, and we'll be able to put it together.
So I enjoyed it, but it's crazy and I don't know what's happening. I didn't fully understand it.
I've got it. Curtis, did you follow? You get around it?
No, not at all.
Okay, so let's start with a summary of what this season has been about. I'm gesturing to my. I've pulled out a corkboard. I've got red string and
it's
images.
Quite elaborate. There's quite a lot of photographs on there.
It's fantastic. So. I'm sorry. I'm also there's things that this is tying into season 1 as well. It's fantastic. So first of all, time in this school is convoluted, and I don't know how else to describe it because it's not stopped. It's kind of Narnia-esque.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody ages.
Yeah.
Time just doesn't behave like time should in the school.
And Mickey knows it, and that's why he's timing time?
I think Mickey suspects it.
Right.
I think Mickey, that's why he's timing everything. Yeah. And because he also, at the end of this arc, Mickey says, "Oh, fuck, I hate forgetting things."
Yeah.
And that's why he's timing stuff and writing notes all the time.
Yeah,
it's because he hates forgetting everything. But it also seems to destroy the evidence. Like, because they've been going to the Mikage seminar, but then at the end, when they go back after there's no people at the school, once Soji is gone, the Mikage seminar is destroyed again, and nobody can remember who was there or whether people died.
So every time we've seen the memorial hall,
yes.
Has it actually been there, or is it not, and that's all in somebody's imagination?
Okay, I haven't quite figured that out, but we might be able to figure it out together as we walk through what's happened. So,
just another question. You ever think about time travel?
Yeah.
Is this... You're saying the time is convoluted?
Which is not the same as time travel.
So you can separate that?
I can separate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
A different discussion for a different time. So... The reason that... Well, let's talk about Anthe being Mamiya, right?
Right, yeah.
So we have all these flashbacks where Mamiya is a purple-haired, brown-skinned little boy, even though Tokiko is very clearly probably Japanese.
Yeah.
But then it's revealed that Mamiya was actually also brown-haired, whatever color eyes she had. Like, they looked like siblings, clearly like siblings. So... Because Soji burned down the Mikage Seminar Academy, whatever it was called.
Right.
And also, I think that she was living there. That was my impression. You said back at Tokiko's house, but I was under the impression that she was also living in a part of that same building.
Okay.
He didn't just burn down the 100 duelists, as he called them.
Right.
He also killed Mamiya.
Right.
So as a way of kind of shedding his guilt... He pretended that he didn't kill Mamiya, he only killed the 100, and Akio being the principal, saw that he was, kind of delusional with guilt and denial, he was like, Anthe, you do whatever I say, go in and just pretend to be Mamiya. Which is why at the beginning as well, he's like, you're going to be the Rose Bride. Right. And he goes, I'm a boy.
Yeah, right, okay.
So he kind of knows that Mamiya isn't... Okay,
so every time we've actually seen Mamiya talking to... So someone has actually been there. It's not his imagination.
So the drawing that we're seeing is a blend of Mamiya and Anthe.
Yes, exactly. It's him...
It's Soji's memory of Mamiya
being impressed on Anthe.
Yeah, projected onto Anthe.
Good.
Exactly.
And Anthe is just playing it up, being like, yeah, I'm Mamiya, which is why is it the same voice actor? That does
yes, I think I haven't checked that, but I think it must be.
But you do also, have to say things with confidence.
Yes. The other thing is that Mamiya as a character is not forthcoming with dialogue, doesn't say anything unless Soji says it, and then
responsive rather than
exactly, and only ever confirms what Soji is saying.
Right.
Apart from when he needs to press Soji to be the final duelist and says, we've only got one rose left. That's the only time that Mamiya is proactive in the goal that presumably he is involved with for wanting to progress
and Anthe knows how to look after roses as well, so it makes sense that he's the one down in the basement looking after the black roses.
Exactly. So that's all tied up in a bow. Yeah. The other thing is that, back to time convolution, I was under the impression that Soji was a fully fledged... They keep calling him Professor, and then he says, don't call me Professor, we're the same age. Yeah. But I do think that they aren't students. I do think that they are people researching, kind of like in a university, how you would work for your masters. Yeah. They are all in that building as a university level, maybe like 20-something-year-olds, trying to revolutionize stuff.
Right.
By staying in the school, he has regressed into being a teenager.
So you think he has genuinely aged?
I think that he has...
Who, sorry?
This is Soji.
Soji Mikage.
Soji Mikage has reverse aged.
He does look different from his professor self.
When he's a professor, it's subtle. They're all...
Is it just glasses?
He wears glasses.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think that he looks a little bit older. I might be projecting because this is my theory.
I mean, she says when she gets back onto the thing, that's definitely Kokiko, right? The Sun Hat lady.
Yeah, that's definitely Kokiko.
She's visibly aged, and Akio hasn't aged at all. So I thought there was like a genuine magical element of he's just stopped aging. Because she says he hasn't aged a day. You and him haven't aged a day. And then Akio says, yeah, well, ever they're on the school grounds, they won't age. People don't become adults.
Okay, so it's either... it's solid, but it's either... that you don't age, or it makes you stay a certain age, even if you start as an adult. But then there are teachers. Maybe it's just that you don't age.
Can I... Sorry. Just back on the fire.
Yes.
He made a deal with Akio,
yes.
Akio, to revolutionize the world, to get this research project done.
Yeah. Well, Akio says... He walks in and he sees Soji working on a maths equation. And Soji is frustrated because he can't find out the solution.
Yeah.
And Akio walks forward, hands him an envelope and says, there's the answer to the equation that you can't solve.
Yeah.
In order to take the equation or the solution so that you can use it, you need to sign this contract and do something for me.
Yeah.
Burn up this place that you're working in, the Mikage seminar.
Is that what he's told him to do, you reckon?
Yeah.
Because he opens the envelope, reads it for a few lines and says, I can't do this is fucking ridiculous.
Exactly.
You're asking me all the wrong stuff.
So wasn't the equation to the formula killing all the boys?
I don't think so. I think that's the condition of him receiving it.
Right.
Because he still hasn't achieved eternity.
And part of those people he had to kill was
Mamiya.
Tokiko's brother, Mamiya.
Yes.
Right.
But why? What, Akio wants those people dead so that they can one day become duelists?
We don't know. So we don't know what Akio's actual goal is, or why the duels have to happen,
so
or why the Rose Bride is powerful.
To be answered.
Yeah. All we know is that Akio saw it as being important for Soji to do this. And then Soji, ridden with guilt and stuck in time, deludes himself into thinking that he hasn't done some of the things that he's done, and Akio uses that against him.
So he was genuinely just some guy called Namuro who happened to be a genius, and he was working on something. Do we know what he was working on before the...
Well, they keep saying you need to revolutionize the world, you need to attain eternity.
He says when she says, I think it might cure my brother's illness, and he goes, it won't cure his illness even if we find eternity or something.
We don't know what eternity is. It could be a lot of different things. But, okay, hear me out. He talks about how the reason that everybody is dueling is to preserve a kind of idealistic representation that people have of what their life is or what their life should be. So if we take Utena, for example, she is trying to preserve this idea that she has a prince who she will meet again. And that's a part of the reason that she's dueling. She got this ring from a prince, and if she feels a little bit like if she keeps dueling, she'll find the prince eventually. And she's like, oh, it'll happen. Everybody else is doing more or less the same thing. They're fighting to preserve an idea that they have of the past.
They're trying to change their lives according to their memories.
Change their lives according to the things that happened in the past. At the very least, the way that they remember them, which is why Soji fights. He doesn't want to have to think about the fact that he killed the Mamiya and all those people, so he's fighting to preserve the idea that things happened the way he remembers.
Right. And he basically everything breaks down when he starts to realize that that's not true.
Exactly. So, in a way, they are trying to make their memories eternal. So maybe eternity is more of a symbolic or like metaphysical thing than an actual thing, which is also like they are stuck in this school eternally.
Yeah. That's a school is a place. Damn it!
2 words in.
that's a school.
So they're stunted.
Yeah.
Everyone that's in the school is stunted.
Yes.
Majiko?
Mamiya. Magico?
Not even sure which one you're going for.
Soji?
Soji was a great Korean drink.
Mikage is his I think.
Mikage.
Yeah, that's his surname.
Mikage had to deal with what he's done.
Yeah.
And so he leaves the school.
True,
So
he graduates.
School is a place where everyone is stuck. They're not growing. Utena is stuck in this idea. I don't know.
But then why after losing the battles do people stick around?
Because they haven't let go of the ideal that they're like. I mean, they didn't get to attain it, but they also haven't let go of it. Like, for example, with Keiko, she, instead of letting go of the fact that she's never going to get to Toga, just doubles down. That seems to be what everybody does. They all regress instead of progressing. Soji comes to terms with it and moves on, whereas everybody else just regresses. Because Juri, she's almost at the point where she can get past her lost love, and then after the duel, she's like, one more round, eh? And then puts the locket back on.
Right, yeah.
Same with Wakaba. And the only person who hasn't come back and hasn't quite been able to deal with it is Toga, and he hasn't come back to the school yet.
True. He hasn't been able to deal with the fact.
Because Sayonji lost, but he got expelled, so that's kind of different. But Toga...
does that mean if the school is like a symbol and people are in the school as long as they're holding on to something...
that they can't let go of.
That they can't let go of. What does it mean for Sayonji to have been expelled from that?
He was still hiding, though?
He was on the campus. Yeah.
Because he still hadn't let go? Like, he was hiding with Wakaba,
in the dorms.
So it's like some sort of the school isn't actually a school.
Yes.
And it's just a place where people hold on to things that they can never fully attain.
Yeah.
And then once they let go of that, they leave the school.
They leave the school and they move on, yeah.
So, what about the pedo music teacher that was kicked out of the school?
Theory falls apart.
I was going to say there are probably things that he can hold on to, but then he probably shouldn't, and he's like, I'll let those go.
What about, I forget her name, Juri's girl, Purple. She transferred to a different school and came back.
Because she hadn't let go of how she felt about Juri. And it all started coming up again. Once she broke up with her boyfriend, she moved back to the school because she couldn't stop thinking about Juri.
Right. Ooh, I like it. Ooh, this is good.
When she transferred was when she started dating that boy, and then they both left, and then as soon as they broke up, she moved back because she couldn't move past Juri.
Yeah,
all comes back to the school and things that you can't let go of.
So Utena's she's hung up on the prince, and Wakaba was hung up on what? Juri?
Sayonji.
She was hung up on Sayonji.
She's still hung up on Sayonji. Yeah, Sayonji. So after her fight, she's still all about Sayonji, and so she's sticking around. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is making sense. people will definitely poke holes in this and be like, the Onion Prince. Oh no, he's still holding on to it. It's just that he's a good person. I'm positing it that that's my theory, and then if you get to the point where you've been there for so long that you would hear me out. You've been there for so long. You've been there for centuries that you just can't let go of something. Eventually, your body dissipates, and all that's left is your shadow, and you're forced to play out.
That's great. Yeah.
So you have to play out the abstract versions of the things that other people can't let go of.
I really like
So there's only 3 people who've ever been there that long.
Well, we're moving into the 4th arc, so there might be more.
Might be more. All right. So question then: if nobody's aging, why do only Akio and Nemuro / Mikage remember their like past selves?
Well, who is it? Mikage?
Old selves.
Everybody does, because take that back. Utena knows Wakaba from the year before. They are 2nd year middle school students. This isn't their first year at the school, because also the teachers remember Utena from the previous year. So there is a way to progress. We don't know what it is. I don't know yet why the time doesn't seem to affect Akio. But Akio seems to be like the master of all things. So
and Anthe knows everything as well?
Definitely.
Yeah.
She knows, or at the very least, she knows more than Utena. I mean, that's obvious, but she knows more about the nature of the school.
And are we saying that Soji Mikage remembers his life as Nemuro, or he
well, we never see him remember
like a Fight Club situation where he's got this... Because it seemed like a very Fight Club revelation when he discovers that Mami has been dead the whole time, and it's kind of been himself.
It's hard to say, because we never see him remember anything before him arriving to the school. So maybe he doesn't. Maybe he only ever remembers being at the school, which seems to be... No, because Wakaba remembers... Oh, no, every time they remember anything that's before... being at the school,
blackface.
So it got blacked out faces and silhouettes. I was going to say that, but there was that flashback episode with Saionji and Toga. But the only person that's blacked out is Utena.
Utena's face is black.
But Saionji and no, it kind of falls apart. That one's a little bit non-Euclidean.
That just reminded me.
Is that what the gravy is?
What?
Is it non-Euclidean water?
Non-Newtonian.
Non-Newtonian. There we go.
But that, just as a quick tangent, that reminded me just now that I had a dream that I'd completely forgotten about, where we discover who the prince is, and he genuinely just has a pitch black face, and it's not her remembering but falsely remembering. It's actually just her remembering perfectly that that's who he was. And he walks in, and he's like, he walked in, and he was like a minstrel, and that was like the amazing reveal that he just has perfectly pitch black skin and hands. Oh, well.
That would be pretty funny.
I've watched too much Utena if I'm starting to dream about it now.
I was going to say you spent 3 hours trying to digest the 2 episodes. The Stranger in DC Comics literally just has like no face, so possible, been done before. I think that wraps everything up. I kind of went on a few.
I think that's a lot clearer with a lot of things. So Nemuro needed to burn it down as part of his contract with Akio, and for doing so...
we don't know what that achieved.
Doing so, it achieved something that we don't know. Something to do with finishing his research?
Well, perhaps. Akio seems chuffed. Akio was like, you've served your purpose, now graduate.
Akio deals with the prince, right? We've seen him talking to the prince. Back and forth. I think, did he mention at the end of that episode that he used Mikage to get to the castle, to get to the arena?
Yes. He does. Yes. So Akio's whole thing, his whole through line is to get the prince awakened again, right? He's trying to awoke the prince.
Yes.
And he keeps talking to him from the castle, saying your time that you'll awaken is approaching. Blah blah blah. So way back, however many decades it was ago, that
he couldn't even get to the castle.
The school. He hasn't gotten to the castle. He hasn't gotten to the arena or anything. He's contracted these 100 boys to research eternity and shit so that they can get into the castle. He realizes during that research that the only way to do it is to sacrifice them. It
for whatever
requires
reason.
some sort of massive sacrifice. Yeah. So he goes to Nemuro and says, "You're the most intelligent one here. You need to burn it down, and that'll achieve it." Blah blah blah.
And he pushes him to do it by kissing Tokiko, so that he's like, "I'll kill your brother."
Yeah. So he burns down the school. It burns down the research labs or whatever, and kills 100 people in Mamiya. he goes into a bit of a state to deny that to himself. Akio latches onto that. I think they discover eternity with that. I think like the contract thing is that Nomura manages to discover eternity, but it's kind of like a monkey's paw situation. He gets more than he bargained for because he, by discovering eternity, is perpetually locked into the Nomura mind.
Right.
The school is suddenly like thrust into this state of eternal, whatever you'd call it,
perpetual timelessness.
Yeah. By opening the gates, they throw this school into perpetual timelessness. But then Akio goes up to the top and realizes that he's so close now, but he still can't get to the castle.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so that's why he's like, all right, we're going to need to set up some duels and get to it that way.
Figure it out, yeah.
And so this whole dueling thing is Akio's last push to try and get to the castle and wake the prince. Something like that.
Whatever the prince is.
Yeah, whatever the prince is.
He's sitting on a dragon egg.
What's the power? I thought he was sitting on like a perfect sphere this whole time, but he's actually sitting on a dome, and the bottom half of that is the shadow. He's in like a shaft of light, and I looked at it closely and realised that it's actually just sitting on like a hemisphere. So it might be a ball like into the ground, but it's not.
No,
just
it's an
floating
egg into the ground.
Yeah,
we've already discussed.
He's on the top of an egg.
Yes.
When we see the blinking hand, it's pointing at cats.
Well, there's one cat and then there's two cats.
I've got it here. It points at, in order, it points as a single cat, it points at the teapot as she's pouring the tea, it points at the butterfly that we then see in the elevators later, it points to two cats now sitting on the wall, and then three cats, and then it points to two guys holding hands, and then it points to lipstick on the cup, and then the conservatory door while she's talking to her brother, and then the butterfly is now a leaf, and then it points to the same lipstick cup now on Nomura's desk later, and then it points to them snogging. So I don't know what it was all about.
It's just like, this is gonna be important with the cats.
But a lot of it was like, it's literally the only thing on the screen. Like, we couldn't not see it. Why is it pointing to it?
It's just them taking the piss. But I think it all lends credence to my, with the fact that time is convoluted. No, because time is convoluted at the school even before they discover what eternity is, because that's what I wanted to bring up about her hourglass. She overcooks her tea, even though she was using an hourglass to time how long to brew the tea.
Do you think that's what I was going to say about the cats? Because I think it's like
all of a sudden there's another cat.
One cat, two cats, three cats,
and the third cat is a baby.
And the third cat's a baby kitten. So is that just to show that they're working on this project to fuck with time, like to get to the castle, to like, were they close? You know, like, is that what that was?
Yeah,
about?
they're messing. They're getting so close with their research that time is already starting to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Through whatever they're doing.
Yes,
attaining eternity.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just demonstrating that time is not right anymore.
And do we put it down to the fact that he said there's 100 duelists and whatnot, and we've only seen like 5, 6, 7 of them? Do we put that down to time as well? Like they've just skipped over that?
I think that they've literally just like, we can't think. It's just, she fights 100.
She fights 100 more, and that's just a skip thing.
Yeah.
All right. What's this board? Do we reckon that she was sent from? She says, "I've been sent by the board."
I don't know.
What about
Akio?
What about the Chosen then?
The next arc, we'll find out. We'll get another Chosen, and
I got one more question.
Yeah.
Mikage sees Utena as Tokiko.
She's just another strong-willed woman. And we've already figured out that he can project realistic bodies onto other people.
Right.
Yeah, do you reckon that's just what that was?
Yeah, I was in two minds about that as well, because until we saw her turn up back at the school in the sun hat, aged and talking about having been married for ages now and stuff, I thought that Utena was genuinely Tokiko, like reborn, just like when he knew her, he was Nomura, she was Tokiko. Now, decades later, through perpetual having their memories wiped and staying in the school for decades, he's now taken on Soji, whatever his name is, Mikage, and she's taken on Utena. And while he's getting flashes of remembering stuff from the past, she's not remembering it yet. I thought that was the case at first, and then she turns up, and I'm like, wait, I think that's Tokiko.
Yeah.
And then there was the assistant who leaves him saying, "I fell in love with you when when we were the same age. And
Yeah.
now I've gotten older and you haven't.
Exactly.
And so I'm leaving or something. And I was like, who's she? Have we met her before? Is she important?
She must have been working. No, we haven't. But I think that again, it's all like a lot of this was just stuff to demonstrate that time is not behaving correctly for a lot of people at the school.
Okay.
Why do you think the teapot was important? Like, why is the hand pointing to stuff like that? Why it was?
Because it's like the tea is burnt, and then when her lipstick is on it, it's like her lipstick was on it. I think that's just okay. So pointing at the cats, time is convoluted. Pointing at the tea, she burnt the tea because time is convoluted. Pointing at the lipstick is still there because he loves her.
Because he loves her and he's kept the cup.
Yeah.
Was the lipstick there before she drank it or something like that?
No,
it
was after. But I figured that the teacup was just him keeping it as a memento because he has a thing for her. And then there's it points at two guys walking up the stairs who seem to be holding hands, and I was like,
it's because they're gay.
They're just like, hey, check it out. Not just gay girls, gay guys too.
So Anthony's pretty fucked. Right? Yeah, because she was having conversations with him, being like, "Yeah, let's kill Anthony." Like,
oh yeah, oh fuck yeah, I'd forgotten.
That's because Aki was like, "Don't worry, I won't let it actually happen." But you gotta get her.
That's why she was freaking out. Which fight was it when she was really freaking out? Because it was Wakaba, because she's like, "You need to draw the sword. You really need to draw the sword now because I know that she's gonna kill me because I told her to kill me. And I've stuck a rose in her so that she'll kill me. And fuck, you need to really do this." And Uten's like, "Nah, I don't think she'll do it. She's a friend."
So Anthe is. I think, I don't know about evil, but pretty fucked. Confirmed, I think.
Yeah. Well, she's not so innocent, which she was at the start.
At the very least, she's complicit.
Yeah. There we go. I got a question about the third one. Did you see the elephants dressed up as like the three guys?
Yeah. They were eating the curry. They put in a little scene where the three guys are eating the same body swap curry with some elephants. So they're just in the school.
They would say curry.
Yeah, they harmonise curry, and I didn't understand why.
Yeah,
it's just good gag.
Just a funny little thing. But that does remind me though. At the end, like the third episode, the clip show episode, ended with that shadow. What? Is it just like tying up this arc, or is it like is there some symbolism to the shadows, the robots catching monkeys and stuff?
I think it's just tying up this arc.
She says I'm a monkey behind a woman mask or something, and then the robot catches the monkey, and I was wondering if it was tied in or anything.
Listen, I spent a lot of time working on this diagram, but the shadows are a whole other thing, and I feel like I would need to go through just watching the shadows.
Well, I mean, thankfully, you don't really need to, because Martina on YouTube has already done an entire breakdown of every shadow in every episode.
Well, it's just there's so much other stuff to digest that the shadows things are like another 40 minutes in and of themselves. I feel like it's just tying up the arc.
Right. And so next act begins next episode, do you reckon?
Yeah. Third and final, wrapping it up.
I don't
so, best bits, sensu beans.
I got one.
Roses, if you will.
So the portraits on the wall.
Yeah.
I think that was my favourite moment because they were all like posed.
Yeah.
So I really like that there must have been a time when they stuck the black rose into them and they're like, oh, I'm angry, like Wakaba like runs up and takes that sword, and then they're like, yeah, but before the duel, just stand and take a photo. Let's pose for the photo. And I just liked that. Yeah.
Somebody with a camera just got in there and took that real quick.
Like Mikage, it's just like, before you go.
With them being black and white photos as well, I was thinking, has this all happened before, like decades and decades ago, with these same duelists fighting before?
I don't think it's The Shining. I think
her photo was on there.
Yeah.
That wasn't related to the Black Rose duelists.
The photo was a kid with the blacked out face when she met the prince.
Okay.
Was it? No, never mind. My favourite bit would be Nemuro holding a candelabra getting slapped for burning down the school and killing her brother.
Just a slap.
I know, right? It's adequate punishment. He's holding like a 7-stick candle, and And the idea behind that means that he's burnt down this entire school with 100 people in it with a candlestick that's still lit.
Yeah. And like a lot of wax left.
Yeah. I also just liked that scene because it is very much like a Fight Club thing where we've seen that same scene but with Mamiya holding it.
Fight Club.
We've seen the same scene with Mamiya holding the candlestick, and then to see it played out and it's actually him holding it. It's kind of like a whoa kind of a reveal.
It was pretty good. I liked that there were little hands and a beeping noise pointing to important things, because tell you what, it made my job easier. Really didn't have to pay attention. It was just like, look here.
Maybe it was a distraction. There were actually really important things in this.
And the periphery, No, back to those pictures on the walls. Whenever they were zoomed out, so like they had kind of like a medium shot of Utuna's torso looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
Had photos, like real life photos of the production team from the animation stuff.
Oh, is it?
I mean, I assume.
Yeah.
There were photos of real people.
They were real people.
Yeah. So I assumed that it was people who worked on the show.
What's this?
That's
like
cool.
They were real photos?
Yeah.
When?
How did you spend 3 hours not watching?
I don't know.
When Utena is looking at the wall photos, there are photographs, like real life photographs.
They're like sketching still, but like they're like actual people, like renders of like actual people's.
No, I did miss those. I was counting how many photo frames there were. I was watching the assistant leaving with the dragging the trolley. I was seeing if there was anything there. I was looking at Utena's clothing to see if there was any difference. I was looking for meaning where it wasn't, I guess, and I missed the more obvious photos.
That one wasn't my actual favourite. My favourite was, I think it was actually the moment where she made the comment about timing her tea with the hourglass and it not working properly, because that was when I was like, holy fuck. And then the maths and everything started happening. Any predictions? Can we predict what's going to happen next?
No idea. I'm lost.
I'm on a roll, so I'm ready to go. But Curtis,
I'm not gonna try. I'm still trying to piece it all together in my head. So
gotta be brazen and just come out and say that the next thing is going to be Anthony slowly starting to retaliate against Akio's wishes. He's going to be like, now you need to do it, but with 2 swords. Now you need to do it, but with your left hand tied behind your back. She's going to say, nah! Although I don't actually know what the third arc antagonist is going to be, because we've done the student council, we introduced the Mikage seminar. I do think that they can introduce a third new thing.
Is Akio end of the world?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because we've seen him directly giving letters to people.
Contracts.
So it has to be him.
It has to be, surely. And so you don't think he's going to be the main antagonist? Like, he's the last arc, right?
Each thing has been about like 12-ish episodes, which will take us to 36. Last 3 episodes, Akio.
Right.
He'll wrap it up.
This is your anime knowledge.
Yeah. This is a little bit of meta knowledge, I feel like, or it could be a little bit longer, but he'll be the last leg. Speaking
of anime meta knowledge and stuff, why wouldn't they split this into 3 seasons? Do you reckon? What's the purpose behind doing it all as one big season, when it's clearly 3 different arcs?
It could have been aired in 3 different seasons. I don't actually know much about the production schedule.
I don't think so, though.
I don't know why. I'm just speculating. It's really hard for me to guess, actually. But with that, it's time to move into a Weeb In review. A Weeb In review is the segment of the podcast where we talk about other things that we did in the week that were not the show that we watched together. And that's it. It has to be anime related, kind of. I'll go first. This week, I read a manga called My Lesbian Experience with Lonliness. And holy fuck, guys, did that do me over? Okay, so I went to like the graphic.
Because I've never been lonely.
I went to the manga store in the city where I live. I don't know how specific to be, or to the graphic novel cafe on Shortland Street. It's an awesome shop, and the dude there is so choice. But I went there because I wanted to buy it because I'd heard good things, and I figured that I would like it. And the whole time my girlfriend was like, because you're a lesbian, right? That's why you're getting it. But like on the topic of like, oh, totally.
I mean, you could say, well, I do like women, so
true. I guess
halfway there.
No, but the joke was like, will it be relatable? Holy fuck! It tore me up a little bit. It's like less. Okay, so it's less than 200 pages, and it's a very simplistic style. It's the story, a true life. It's somebody's personal story about being 28 years old, never had sex, directionless, and depressed, and them trying to get their life back on track. And it really fucked me up. I had a big cry afterwards, and I was like unconsolable for a good little while. It was very emotionally touching. It had a very good gut punch. I don't really want to ruin it. I mean, it's her dealing with the fact that she's lesbian and her trying to find out why she didn't want to be a lesbian, and she doesn't blame it on a homophobe.
Is she really out?
No, by the end of the book she's out.
Okay.
So it's a biographical thing?
Autobiographical? It's autobiographical.
And it's set just entirely in the real world with everything.
Yeah. It's mostly her talking in the third person about events that happened. So it starts with her hiring a female prostitute. She's never had sex, and she just like, fuck it, I'm gonna hire a female prostitute. And then it does a flashback 10 years and talks about how she got to where she was at. And then it flashes back to her last day of high school. She's like, those were such good days. And it's basically told in a lot of narration in third person with little text boxes and then just illustrations depicting the thing that she's talking about. It's not really a story so much as it is somebody telling you about their experience with life.
And she's Japanese?
Yeah, she's Japanese.
Based in Tokyo or something? Or?
I assume Tokyo, but it doesn't say. Just any Japanese city. Yeah.
Does it go into like the culture of that in Japan?
Of being gay?
Yeah.
It's actually not that much of a focus. It's a lot more focused on her being depressed and directionless and not knowing what to do with her life for a very long time. And I think she's clinically depressed as well, and her just wanting to understand herself, because there's a part where she just goes to the library and starts reading psych-pop books, like pop psychology books, to understand more about how the human brain works, and her linking up things herself, like, oh, that's why I do this, or that's why I've done this in the past. But so she's it does time skip, so it's like, I just did this for 2 years, like I worked in a bakery for 2 years, that kind of thing. It jumps over anything that's not important.
Right.
But it goes through her developing 2 eating disorders, not leaving the house, a whole bunch of stuff. But there's one part where she's looking for another job because she's so fucked that she's moved back in with her parents. Not that you have to be that fucked to live with your parents, but she didn't want to do it. She's living with her parents and she's trying to find another job, and she is having these interviews and nobody's hiring her because she's a high school graduate with no work experience, and the work experience she does have, she's been fired from for reasons. And she goes to another bakery because she's like, hey, I've worked in a bakery for 2 years, I got fired, but I worked in a bakery for 2 years. And they're like, what do you like to do? It doesn't have to be baking, like, just tell us about yourself. And she talks about how she likes to do manga, and she's won like a couple awards for, not like big awards, but like little indie competitions. And then they go, we're not going to hire you right off the bat because the only time that you looked alive when we were talking to you was when you were talking about manga, so we think that you should just go do that. And she was like, oh, okay. And she left like a little bit depressed. And then it was at night when they were doing the interview, the guy comes to lock the door and he's like, I was being serious, by the way, like I really hope that you find success. And then he closes the door, and then she just cried the whole way home and at the train station, and that really made me upset. That really touched me. Like, I don't know, that really affected me, and I got really upset. Well, not upset, like, I don't know, it's
strangely
touching.
For sure.
It's really good. I have it, you can borrow it if you like.
That sounds great.
My Lesbian Experience with Lonliness. And it's like 200 pages, but very touching. There's a sequel. I'm going to go buy that this weekend and then maybe read that in time to talk about next week.
That's a cool way, because it's her life, right?
Yeah.
An endless sequels.
Oh,
my lesbian experience with success.
Well, it's not called My Lesbian Experience with something else, the sequel. I don't know. I think it might be My Something Diary. I'm saying that it might be My Lesbian Diary. But the other thing is, I know that she's improved. Unlike Welcome to the NHK, where I know the guy regressed and is now worse, and so I can't really look at that as like a success story or something to like look at as uplifting. I can look at this and be like, oh, this person actually is trying still and is finding success, and at the very least they're finding happiness. It's really touching and personal, and it's good stuff. A few other people have talked about it. I'm not like breaking waves, I don't think, but just reiterate, if you've heard about it already, it's definitely good. If you haven't heard about it, read it, and if you like it, buy it.
Do you reckon it would make a good anime or not?
No, I don't. No. I think they'd fuck it up if they did it into an anime. It also touches on some of the I'm trying to stay out of spoiler stuff. Some of the stuff it touches on would be really hard to deal with. Like she self-harmed, which is not a spoiler, but self-harm, and the way that it's dealt with in illustration is quite tasteful and easy to process. But if they did it in an anime, it'd be gratuitous and shitty and melodramatic. Whereas this is quite just like, this is the thing that happened. Miserable. It's really good.
Nice.
The other,
I'd be keen to read that. You think he regressed in Welcome to the NHK?
He did.
Yeah?
In real life, he did, yeah.
He's talking about the
author.
Yeah, the
That's
author.
right, yeah.
That story. Because the novel is a lot more autobiographical than the anime is.
Okay.
And in the anime, it's like, look at how much better he is. But in the novel, in the second edition, he's like, I'm worse. Yeah. You guys gave me too much money.
I got all this money coming in, and now I have no reason to leave.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's sad.
Yeah. Miserable.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did was I watched 4 episodes of Hetalia Axis Powers.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to, though, so stay out of spoilers.
Well, I mean, if you know history...
How does it end up?
Oh, World War II?
Never heard of this one.
I didn't like it. But only because I feel like I don't get... Like, I know that they're simplifying actual historical events, but because I don't know those historical events, I feel like I'm missing a bit of the joke.
Right.
They summarize it, and so I kind of understand what's happening, but I feel like if I was a historian and I knew what they were doing, I was like,
I see what you did there.
I feel like I'm outside of the joke. I feel like they're telling the joke and then having to explain it to me afterwards a little bit, which feels demeaning.
You have Wikipedia up at the same time, just be like, what was this? What was happening in Belgium in this?
Is it educational or...
Probably.
Comedy.
It's more comedy because Italy just loves pasta. They're like, so Germany is invading, I can't remember what country, and there's a box, and he's like, an enemy supply box. I'm so hungry. I think I'll open it. And then it's like, oh, I'm a box fairy. Don't open me. And he's like, a box fairy? Those don't exist. He's like, no, you really shouldn't open me. He opens it. And then Italy's inside. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I ate all the pasta. I just love pasta. Oh, you're from Germany? I have a brother in Bravia. And then it comes up with a big note saying Italians, when found by enemy soldiers during World War I, would say that they had relatives in the country that the person was from, so that you shouldn't kill them. For example, they would say, I have a cousin in Boston, so you shouldn't kill me if they were American.
Wow.
So again, explaining the joke to me, if I knew more about history, I would probably just like, but like Rome is a lot of their great granddad, and Rome took Italy away, and now Italy is like all into art and stuff, but everybody else grew up without Italy.
Right. Yeah.
So there's stuff like that I can appreciate, but also I'm just like, I don't really understand what's happening, and you're explaining it to me as we go, and I don't like it. So if you know history and you're an anime historian,
does it make it sort of? Does it break the flow when it sort of pops up and tells you the joke?
Nah, I mean I have to pause it because there's a lot of text to read, but. If I didn't have to read the text, it would be fine. I don't know.
I've played like educational games where you can choose to just get enjoyment from the game, or you can like click on the question mark at the side and it tells you about what those things you're doing. Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think it's funny enough on its own 2 feet. A lot of the comedy is like, when this happened, right? Wasn't this awful?
It should be a funny thing that happens to teach you about history, rather than them starting with, what if we can teach kids about history and potentially make it funny.
Yeah.
It is for kids.
I have no idea.
Does it go into like
gassing the juice.
Awful shit.
I've only seen 4 episodes.
Right.
Gassing the juice.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is like it's
How does it deal with World War?
Can you make a joke about that?
The only characters in the show are countries.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Italy is a character.
Yeah.
Germany is a character. I don't know how they're going to frame.
Is Germany self-conflicted then? It's kind of
stabbing. Well, that's just it. They just talk
really
about
torn up about what he's doing.
They just talk about conflict, and they don't really talk about what the motivations behind the conflict are. And they're just talking about organising forces and stuff.
Fucking punching himself in the face.
It's all a bit confusing,
right? Yeah.
Because I'm not actually an anime historian, so I'm probably going to give it a pass. But it was interesting. It was good to give it a little bit of a go. Robert.
Not a lot of time this week, so I've watched a few more episodes of Naruto. I'm starting to get into the story now, and that ties in with what I was told about it. A friend of mine I was talking to her about the podcast, and she said, "Oh, Naruto, yeah, I love it, but look up before getting into it too deeply. Look up which episodes are filler, because there are so much. It's like half filler. It's probably more filler than story." And she's like, it really ruins the flow. You feel like you've just wasted your time watching something that has nothing to do with it. And it kind of makes sense. I've only watched, 6-7 episodes or something, and they're only just now getting into any semblance of story. They've just left the village for the first time, and they're finding out about like an Avatar-esque thing. There's like 5 different nations of elements, because they also include, lightning, I think, is the last one. They use the 4 elements in lightning. So they're starting to flesh out the world. It does seem like it's a world that's got a lot of lore to it, which I'm enjoying. I look forward to learning more about the world. But I just hope that they'll get to the story a bit quicker.
I want to make a pun with Naruto, but I can't, so I'll just ask Robert, are you going to make it to 700?
No. Probably not.
Okay.
Is it your kind of show?
I'm going to ask you every time we talk about it when you say you're going to make it to 700. And by 700, I mean the end of the story.
The end of the story.
Forget all the filler. Yeah.
So I'm going to make it to 230 or whatever it is. I am enjoying it, and it is my kind of show. I do like kind of...
shonen adventures.
Yeah, shonen adventures. It is getting a bit repetitive with some of the abilities that some of the ninjas can do, like their main guy with their face all covered. He's like their main
teacher.
Genin, are they calling him? I can't remember now. But he's like a super dude, and at one point they get ambushed by these ninjas from another tribe, and he gets just slaughtered, and you see his body like fall to the ground in tiny little bits, and then nope, he used a ninja power of substitution to put little wooden blocks in the way, and it's wood. And like that's happened 3 times now, where he's been killed, and then it sort of retroactively says, nope, actually he wasn't killed because he can use the ninja power of substitution to put a tree in the way every time, even after the fact. It seems, right. It's stuff like that. Yeah. It surprised me with the most recent one, because Naruto gets cut by those same ninjas in the same attack. He gets cut on the hand. And after his teacher comes back from the dead, supposedly, and wastes them, and says, sorry that I let them get so close to killing you. I just needed to know who they were after. I needed to know what they were doing. So I substituted the tree in the way. They cut that into pieces, and I watched as they attacked you and almost killed you and all of this, so that I could know who you're going for. He holds them up and says, there's poison on their claws. You might need to deal with that wound on your hand. You need to drain the blood of all the poisoned part. And so they're talking about going back to the village and Naruto being kicked off the mission. And so Naruto doesn't want that, so he takes out a little dagger, a little shuriken, and he stabs himself in the hand, and it's pissing blood everywhere. Yeah. And it's like, wow, this is not what I expected from this kids show.
Well,
they're really not shying away from the blood.
Japanese kids are tougher than Western kids.
Come across that a few times now.
Oh, Western kids, something bad happened. Oh no, we can't have that. Oh, the Simpsons are bad.
I don't like the writing so far, though. The writing's kind of poor. They're 7 episodes in or something, and they haven't really made use of this Naruto's a demon fox thing.
Right.
It was revealed in the first episode, and I've talked about how that was kind of weird and odd for a writing choice. But then they've also just never addressed it. Like, nobody talks about why it's important, or Naruto just acts as if he's never learnt that fact and he's just a normal kid, and I don't know. It's
maybe
kind of
building up to it, or
it's kind of poorly written.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm going to continue with it whenever I've got some time free to watch something.
Yes.
At the moment, I'm going from one assignment to the next. The day before that, my last assignment was due. My next assignment was released, so it's like there's no even like day of downtime to just be like nothing due, nothing to work on.
In saying that, when university's over in October, it's gonna be
all on.
Anime Central.
Yeah.
You didn't have anything?
No.
All good. Well, with that, I think it's time we move into fake views. Fake Views is the segment where I read out some anime and some of it is real and some of it's not real, and because I know more I get to laugh at Robert and Curtis for not knowing as much as me. I'm
going to waste you this week.
Yeah, after a shocking loss.
After an absolute trouncing last week.
Robert's going to come back and take home the platinum. I read them out, they guess whether it's real or fake. Play along at home or don't. This week's...
I love that there's always that just like add-on of antagonism.
It always seems to come up at this part. It's because I'm really insecure about this segment. I'm like, do people like this? I can't tell. Robert likes it, so...
You address the friends and foes at the start of each podcast. So
True, yeah.
Antagonism's for them.
It's for the foes. I know.
The ones who you know have just gone, I'm not going to play along.
And they're still listening? What the fuck? Okay, so just one big clue for these are all kid shows.
Right.
So we'll kick off. After landing in the sewers, a pampered rodent enlists the help of a scavenger to get back to his lavish lifestyle. He must escape the sewers before being killed by its inhabitants.
Okay. Over the hedge?
There are no sewers in Over the Hedge.
No. Flushed away. I think that's about a rodent that's... Or is it just an anime? Every week I'm like, yeah, that sounds enough like that, so I'm going to say fake, and then it just happens to be an anime because there's no new ideas under the sun.
Well, if there's logic to it, Curtis, have you decided?
Nothing's coming that doesn't sound familiar.
What? One more time. A rodent.
After landing in the sewers, a pampered rodent remember, no collusion.
No collusion.
A pampered rodent enlists the help of a scavenger to get back to his lavish lifestyle. He must escape the sewers before being killed by its inhabitants.
Fake.
Yeah, it doesn't... I don't know, it doesn't scream anime.
Doesn't scream anime?
Fake.
Yeah, it was fake. It was flushed away.
Yes.
This was like a 2000-something DreamWorks.
At the end there, I was like, it also kind of sounds like that Rick and Morty episode where he turns himself into a pickle and he ends up in the office.
A little bit about
I didn't say that he was a pampered pickle. All right, tied. Going into the second real or fake anime. I don't know which one to do now. We'll go with this one. A small fluffy rodent is the pet of a primary schooler and quickly makes friends with all the other rodents in the building. They go on crazy adventures around the whole city while their owners are away. Meanwhile, the humans have their own problems to deal with.
I'm going to say real.
I'm going to say fake.
That one's real.
Yeah!
I think Robert figured out the metagame. That one is, of course, Hamtaro.
They do like cute people with pets. So I was like, everybody in the school's got pets.
I thought it might sound enough like A Secret Life of Pets.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I've never seen Secret Life of Pets, so I wouldn't be able to know. I think they mostly had dogs.
Yeah, and it's pretty much all dogs.
Pretty much all dogs. That's dogsists. Just think everybody only has dogs. What about cats and birds and reptiles?
They have those in the movie as well. But I think it's actually a pretty accurate representation of the proportion of people who have dogs versus all those other things.
Whatever. I don't know. I don't actually care enough to fight you on that. Hamtaro is a weird show. It's about rodents. I mean, hamsters that just do really weird human things.
Yeah.
It's a weird show if you've watched it. It's like,
do the people know that they're hamsters?
No. It's kind of like a Toy Story thing where they leave and then they're like, oh, geez, we've got to make a plane. Yeah. Okay, last one. After a lab experiment gone awry, 3 sisters are imbued with incredible powers. They must now balance their school life while fighting evil that the city seems to attract.
I'm gonna say fake.
And their name's Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup.
Yeah.
I used to watch that all the time.
I thought it would sound enough like a magical schoolgirl, and I was like, okay. So my thought process was, don't say a professor, don't say chemical X, nothing about poison or nice or anything spice, nothing about a monkey.
But the sisters, the
three sisters
the powers
in a lab experiment,
evil
and a city.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
I wanted to say town, but I was like, not a town, city of Townsville.
Right.
City town. It's a town village.
Well, that one was a mixed success. Robert wins.
Yeah, 3-2. Not a trouncing.
Fuck it.
I'm desperately trying to remember the theme song now.
Dun dun banana.
Yeah. What's the little like? How does it go? It goes.
Blossom, she is the strongest leader. Buttercup, she likes the joy and the laughter. No wait, Blossom. Oh no, Bubbles, she takes the joy and the laughter. Buttercup, she is the strongest fighter. Powerpuff saves the day. Fighting crime, trying to save the world. Here they come just in time. The Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff. It's the end credits.
I obviously never watched the end credits then, because that doesn't sound right at all. No, I was meaning the little monologue-y bit about their origin.
Oh, that one. It goes.
I can't think how it's
poison. No, not poison.
Sugar,
spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girls. But Professor Utonian accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction: Chemical X.
The Powerpuff Girls were born. Blossom, Bubbles,
and Buttercup. Using their ultra superpowers, they must now fight crime and stop the forces of evil. And then every episode starts with the city of Townsville
is under attack.
Or is not.
Mojo Jojo, right?
Yeah. Well, Mojo Jojo had the most tragic backstory because he was the original helper, and then when the Chemical X broke, it got in his brain, he got too smart, and then the professor lost him. I don't know. They did a revamp, like how they did Sailor Moon 2016, they did Powerpuff Girls 2016, and it was shit.
Right.
You guys remember him? Powerpuff Girls, am I right? Moving on. No, he was more like, yes. That's going to be awful to listen to.
Nah, it's going to be great.
Us being in synchronized will be good.
The fact that you guys can recall that, very impressed.
Basically autistic. Moving into recommendations.
And you don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man.
This is probably going to be the last time that I'm able to flex. In a sense that, like, I've seen a show that you haven't even heard of. I want to recommend Serial Experiments Lane. If you haven't heard about Serial Experiments Lane, it is a surreal thriller sci-fi drama. I think that's the best way of describing it. It's also very art house. It's a very strange kind of show to watch. It tells the story of a girl who's in middle school and a classmate kills herself, and then she starts getting texts from the classmate, or emails from the classmate, talking about how she's still alive, but online. Like, only online is she still alive. And it follows the story of this girl trying to kind of understand how this girl is still alive online, even though she's very obviously killed herself. It's a very strange art house show. Like, all of the outside shots are strangely framed, and it uses a lot of kind of jarring imagery to show stuff. My articulation is all falling out. So the reason that I like it is it talks about it was made in the early 90s, and the dude who wrote it just very clearly understood what the internet was before a lot of people understood what the internet was.
Right.
People kind of saw it as a dystopian future, but it's just what the internet was and what it still is, you know, like a place for people to escape and exist as personas online.
Yeah.
And it explores people, you know, like, I don't know how much of it's really hard to watch. You kind of need to watch it twice because it's so dense, and even at the end, it has an ending that doesn't really explain much. Upon further watching, you're like, oh no, that's right, I get it. So there's things like people go to a bar. There's more than one character, so the main character is this middle schooler, but it also follows the stories of a few other people interacting with the internet. And there's a bar that a lot of people go to, but then at one point it's revealed that the bar is an online forum, but it's how they're visualizing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't go to bars to meet up anymore.
Cool.
They all go out.
Representation.
Yeah. It focuses a lot more on representation of things rather than what they actually are.
Right. Yeah.
But it starts to blur and mesh together more and more so that you can't tell what's actually happening in the real world.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the things that happen online are as real to the people that it happens to, or more real than the things that happen in their real life.
Right.
So it's a good show. It's just very dense.
To the viewer as well.
Yeah, to the viewer. Like, you don't. A lot of the time, you don't know whether something is really happening.
Okay.
The only time that you know if something is really happening is if you see Lane on her computer, because that's her on her computer.
Yeah.
Also, her dad gets a super cool computer that he builds himself. But yeah, it's just people. The focus of the series is people's relationship with technology rather than a character exploration.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really dense. Super good. I think it's 13 episodes. Yeah. It might be 12. It's not that long, but it's abrasive. It's not as, you know how there are some shows or some mediums that are hard to get through, but you get something different out of them than just enjoyment.
Yeah.
I would put it in that category. I think it's well worth your time, but it's the kind of thing where you need to be in the right kind of mind space to watch. It's not a sit back and relax thing. It's a sit up and pay attention type thing. But it's good.
What was it called again?
Serial Experiments Lane. Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. I might leave that in. I feel weird now that I forget to say it. It's a catchphrase. Fuck it. Let's move into the wrap up. Oh no, is it the wrap up now?
Yeah, never segment with that.
Fuck it. Let's move into the next bit. Boom.
And then when it comes time to wrap up, you take the fajitas, which are also a kind of wrap. You've got kebabs and fajitas from across the world, and that's the different kind of wraps you find bringing cultures together through music and food.
That's what historians are all about.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this is the part where we wrap up the podcast and do any admin. I would like to open up by saying that we have made a tremendous achievement. We have exactly 69 likes on Facebook.
Nice.
Which is so nice. So choice. So
Nice.
if you were going to like us on Facebook, it's too late.
Yeah, you've missed it.
You've totally missed it. You need to either wait until 33 other people want to like it all at the same time. Go for it, because 96 is basically 69.
Yeah, just backwards. Joel doesn't know how anatomy works.
It's just they're swapping positions. It's just like one person's on top and now they're on the bottom.
Yeah, but they'd be back to back as well.
69.
Bro,
shit.
Bro, you've never done 96?
Oh, no, bro. Oh, totally. I've totally done 96. Don't even call me out, bro.
Man, I didn't even... I was just like, no, you just flip the numbers upside down. Fuck.
Damn it.
It would still just be 69.
A round 100 would be nice, though. Nice round 100.
Have you done 100, bro?
Have you done 100? Just one skinny dude and two fat girls.
Or fat guys.
One skinny girl and two fat guys.
Or one skinny guy and two fat guys. Or it doesn't matter.
You know what? It's
two donuts.
fine.
One guy and two fat donuts.
2018, you know?
We don't judge.
In 2018 is like one curly guy and then...
What are we talking about? We're active on the social medias if you want to talk to us. We're on the YouTube and Reddit. We have a Facebook. Think of something else, then find us on there. Do it, yeah. If you want to email us directly, though, you can do so at KYFCaYAC at gmail.com. That's KYFCaYAC at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Leave us a subscription. Write a review. Or don't. But please do, because we love it, because then we'd grow more, and then more people would know about us, and that would achieve something. Validation, I guess.
Please validate me by emailing in.
Yeah. Next week, we are going to watch episodes 25, 26, and 27 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. But until then, I have been, as always, your anime historian, Joel.
I was, as always, your anime history teacher, Robert.
I am your anime history, Curtis. Until next week, missing truth and forever, kissing love and true your heart.